Hi guys, and welcome back to Dudley Central. This is the February 2021 update on the layout. It's been a really busy month. I've had a couple of new additions, and I think this is a good point to show you where I am with the layout. And it'd be great to get your usual thoughts and opinions. Your comments really are appreciated, and as I say, a couple of them from last time round I've taken on board and they have really helped. So yeah, if you feel like dropping a comment, please do, and I hope you enjoy this video. So one of the sort of big pieces of work, which aren't really railway related, I've added some insulation to the walls. It did get flagged up last time, and I think on the previous video as well, the concerns about insulation on the walls. I have done the floor and the roof, and I did initially think that was enough. However, I did come back and decide I might do the walls. So I got some stuff off Amazon and I added that in behind the baseboards. In hindsight, probably should have done that beforehand, but again, it's just a bit of a learning curve, I guess. And it has made a huge difference, actually. We have had some very cold weather up in Leeds the last few weeks, and I tell you what, having this insulation has made a massive difference. So yeah, as I say, thanks to those who suggested it. It's definitely helped the atmosphere in here, and it's a bit more pleasant to be in here. And the other bonus is, with it being metallic, it's shining all the light around the room, so I'm getting light everywhere now. So that's been the big one. So last time round in my January layout update, I did have a change of mind with the baseboards, and it was particularly concerned with this area here, where I now have some taxis and the Audi Quattro. So basically my baseboard initially finished here, and it was a raised section which ran all the way along up to the end. And the decision I took was, well, it doesn't look very natural how it just kind of jutted out and it ended. I also think the scenic potential was quite low, and actually when it ties in with the viaduct section, which is just to the left, it looks a bit more natural. And I can now start thinking in the far off future, kind of future proofing I guess, is can these sections be linked? Looking at it now, there really isn't no reason why that couldn't happen. It's just got to factor in, with this section being a lifting one, how this one would bridge the gap. But again, that's in the far off future. But again, I think just from a viewing perspective, it looks a lot better. So this has been a real big job for me. I know it looks quite a small section, but what I've had to do is get the jigsaw and cut into the baseboard and add some sections here and here, and I've also had to play with legs and stuff like that, just to bring it up to the right level. But I am really quite chuffed with that now. And as I say, what I'm now looking at with the layout is this area here is a perfect spot for the signal box for the main station area, I think. What I'm thinking is something based on Wolverhampton signal box. I think that'd be quite fitting for the layout. I am using Wolverhampton as quite a bit of inspiration for the layout, and yeah, I think it'd be ideal. So that's been that. The other bit of work actually that I've been doing is the whole section has moved up. I think it was by about 18 millimeters. Now there is a reason for that, and that is to do with the retaining wall, which I've elected to go for. So for the layout, I've purchased a set of L-Cut Creative retaining walls. I've specifically gone for the shops under arches. I quite like them. I think they look quite cool. And to be honest, I have been thinking of Livery Street near Birmingham Snow Hill, and they have loads and loads of these shops right next to where the main lines are heading out towards the Black Country. So I feel like doing something like that in a similar colour as well, that kind of blue brick kind of colour, and I can have some shops. But going back to the last point, I had to change the level of the baseboards, because when I initially built this kit, it didn't look very realistic. The pattress was just far too low underneath the track level, and looking at Google Maps and various other arches like this, it just looked too deep, the section. So now what I'm thinking is I'm going to get another sort of piece of brick just to kind of bridge that, and then have some fencing along the side of a track, which is quite common. I've had a look at Manchester and Birmingham, and this seems quite common, where the fencing running across the top of a retaining wall. Well, as I say, this kit looks really good. This is the only one I've opened up, and I only opened it up just to size it up and see how it fitted. And again, it has been a job just to alter the sections on the board. What has made it a lot easier was I put some adjustable legs on the legs for this section. So changing it by 18mm, I didn't have to do any cutting on that. I could just move the legs and use a spirit level to make that work. But yes, so that's been a lot of woodwork. And I'm kind of fed up of doing woodwork now. I'm ready to move on to the next thing. So again, looking at this section here, I've also been thinking about the station and how that's going to work with the layout. Now, as you can see, I've still got the bus stop in roughly the same position, and I'm now also thinking of a taxi rank there, and this leaves me this kind of space, which is going to be the station. And I think, as I said before, I'm using Wolverhampton as quite a bit of inspiration, and I'm going to look at the old, I'll say old, it's very recently the old building, which was built in the 1960s, I believe. A great big concrete monstrosity, but that's what I'm going to go for, and I've kind of planned it out in SketchUp, which is a CAD modelling software, and I've just drawn it out, and what I'm now going to do is get some card and just size that up and see how it fits. But I'm quite keen to do that, and then, unlike Wolverhampton, where there's a footbridge, in theory the passengers would go under the platforms, and on the platforms themselves will be stairs going down into like a subway, and that means that the view of the trains will be fairly unobstructed. I might just have a couple of buildings scattered and shelters and something like that, but I'm really keen to not have too many buildings blocking the trains, because that's kind of what we're here to see, isn't it? I have also noticed I've got Gene Hunt from Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes twice in this shot. I've got the Audi Quattro here and the Cortina there, so not entirely sure what's going on there, but that just made me laugh looking through the camera there. So another fairly big change actually to the layout has been the addition of a new line. So shortly after filming the previous video, I think I put on my Instagram and Facebook page, I basically put a train on the track on the edge, and I thought, you know what, I fancy another platform, and it kind of fitted. When I did set the initial running platforms in the middle, I did set them back just in case I did change my mind, which was which good I did in the end. But what I've done is I've set it so that I can get a pretty good length train into the platform. I think it was 5 or 6 Mark 1s behind a loco, or I think a 5-car HST. So get a pretty sizable train in there. And what I was thinking operationally is that where the 37 is at the moment with that regional railway set, that's going to be the express line. So all of the sort of trains that will rush through to Manchester Piccadilly or Euston, they're going to use that centre line. This kind of platform 1 is going to be for sort of semi-fast trains, so something like the Birmingham to Liverpool Lime Street train or something like that. So in theory that train would come in, the express one would run through, and then it'd leave again. And I'm also thinking some other services I've got in my head are something maybe like a freight train is coming in, it's going to stop, it's going to wait for the express to go through, and then it will carry on its journey around the layout. And to be honest, once I'd sort of had that in my head, I thought, that's quite good, because I've got, in the far side, I've got a bit of a passing loop moving that way, so it'd be nice to have one coming this way as well. Obviously that did give me a bit of a problem up this end, because I had to sort of figure out how this new line was going to integrate with the rest of it. I did try having a straight point. I've never ever used a curved one before, but the straight point had to go here for it to look reasonable on this curve, and it just, the problem with doing that was it shortened the length of both the express line and the passing loop platform, and it just, the bends were all too tight, and so I'm really trying to put this layout, move away from set track, which coincidentally this point is a set track point, but it's a compromise, but as it's a third radius point, it's not too noticeable, and I hope you'll agree that the kind of flow of the line from here to there, it isn't too drastic, and it looks fairly natural. The other issue that I have come across is I've got a beam which runs right under there. Now I have drilled a hole for the point, and in theory I could fit one with an extended pin, but the problem is I have tested it with a point motor that it's too close to the actual beam itself to fit. So at the moment I'm at crossroads really with that point motor, whether to see if there's some other way of getting the point motor, perhaps a smaller one closer to that beam, or I just go for a surface mounted one here and try and disguise it. But as I say, that's a future problem, and if anyone else has had this issue and overcome it, it'd be great to get your thoughts on that. So another time-consuming job that I've been doing is respacing the sleepers. Quite a few, obviously very well-known layouts on YouTube have gone down this approach, and to be honest, I thought I'd give it a crack myself. So, as I say, I've only managed to lay 2 platforms worth of track at the moment, just because it just takes so long to respace these. I think on mine I've got it approximately 5mm between each sleeper, which I believe is about right. And if you compare that to something that's unspaced like that track behind, you can really tell the difference. And when I see it side by side, I think actually, yeah, that effort is kind of worth it. So yeah, it is taking a while, and as I say, I've managed to do this new platform and that running one where the 37 is at the moment. I've also gone about wiring every single piece of track. I don't think I've ever gone at wiring in angle like this, but I want it to be as reliable as possible, this layout, and I want to try and cut out the not the need, but the pressure on sort of fish plates to conduct the power. I'd rather each section of rail have something connected to the bus, and even on the short sections I've connected up now, I'm really seeing a big difference. I suppose time will tell for the whole layout how much of a difference it'll make. And then obviously beneath the track as well, I'm using Cork Underlay. I've got some 4mm cork. Really save yourselves a lot of money, and don't order model railway specific cork, because you'll be paying 2 or 3 times the price of normal cork. I just went on eBay, just ordered some rolls of the some 4mm cork and cut it to shape, and then just sort of shaped it round where I wanted it to go. So looking at the main junction itself, I've laid both points now. So I've got the large streamline left hand point laid, and I've also put the double slip in. Both are wired up. I've got to say, I did not enjoy the double slip at all. I think there's some little prongs underneath. I snapped every single one, so I ended up having to wire straight to the rails. I think it's okay. As I say, it's not all hooked up yet with the other track, so I'm still my heart's in my hand at the moment with how this is going to work with the other pieces, and that's why I didn't film that, because I'm very much a beginner with double slips. There are some really good videos on there, and I watched every single one, and I still somehow managed to mess that one up. But yeah, I like the look of it. I've got a nice, as I say, on that far side it's a bit messy because the track's not hooked up properly, but to me that looks like quite a smooth transition between all of the lines there, and I'm quite excited to get some long trains crisscrossing the junction. So on that far side, the mail depot's not really had anything done to it, apart from I have done the sleeper spacing on that piece of track, because that was in fact the very first piece I tried it on, because it's the older sort of wooden sleeper stuff, and I didn't really, it wasn't as valuable to me as the concrete track. So all I've done is I've done the sleeper spacing. I've kind of set it back from the very back of the layout, just to position where that line's going to be. Again, it's when the cork and the track starts to go down, it's something I can kind of get my head around a little bit more. But if we come round to this side, here is it's one of the smaller streamline points, but this is where I'm thinking of having the diverge onto this passing loop platform. It looks okay to me, so it comes around quite nicely. As you can see. So what I'm thinking actually with this platform is it's going to end roughly somewhere around here, and then this approach, just zoom out, it's going to be scenic. So yeah, that's how this area is starting to evolve a little bit. The bus garage at the moment is moved, I think 3 times now. I've moved it over here for now. That is it's not necessarily where it's going to end up. I've just been trialling it in a few places. It was initially by the station area, but it did look quite tight, and to be honest, I think sometimes you can overcrowd a layout, so I wanted to space it out a little bit, and this area at the moment looks like a good place for it, but yeah, we'll see. So the first of the new arrivals for this month are the set of 3 British Fuels PFAs. I already had a rake of 9 before, and this was the final pack for that train. I did see, I think it was the very last one from the model centre, and I jumped at it because I'm really impressed with these wagons. I think they're fantastic, and they make quite a sight when they run around the layout, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get 12. And it does look a mighty sight behind that load, or 37. I say detail's really good. There's loads and loads of reviews out there on them. So I think this train's probably complete now at 12. It's long enough for me. And as I say, I hope you enjoy seeing that one running. So the other addition from January has been these Hornby Mark 1s, which are in chocolate and cream livery. This I did, it was a lucky find on eBay actually. So this was split from the Tisley connection set, which comes with a Hall locomotive. Now, I haven't heard great reviews about that particular locomotive. I mean, someone might correct me if I'm wrong. But I really needed some coaches that were suitable as a preserved rake, and that was one of the very few sets which are out there which kind of cater for the preserved or mainline operational charter trains. So let's say something I really wanted for the layout was a heritage charter train. I didn't really have any coach in stock. I do have Tornado and a Maroon Western, and I wanted something fitting for that. And again, in reality, Dudley used to be on the Great Western line, so it's a nice little sort of touch for that layout and a bit of a connection there. And the last of all, what really pushed me over is I have pre-ordered a Porterbrook Deltic. I think it looks absolutely superb from Accurascale. And when I've looked online, the most common form of coaching behind it seems to be these chocolate and cream Mark 1s. No idea why. I have seen a few maroon ones, but as I say, when I've gone on Google, chocolate and cream seems to be pretty common. So all that together, and it was 60 quid, so I think it was £20 a coach. Yeah, I was quite happy with that. So those have been my additions for the layout. I've got a couple of pre-orders. I did mention the Deltic. I have also ordered some JSA steel wagons as well, so I'm excited to see them. But at the moment, that is it for this month. So it's been quite a lot, and as I say, I'm just really excited to get that kind of initial this direction loop hooked up all the way around the garage, so I can have it properly running. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and as I say, any comments are really appreciated, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel. All the best, and I will catch you next month. Bye for now.